Hello and welcome to today's edition on Daily Current Affairs with Sathya sir. I'm Satyanarayan from bring you important news affairs, current affairs from a leading daily newspaper, great articles which you can read for improving your reading comprehension abilities, and of course point out words of vocabulary that can help improve your language. Today is the 13th of August 2025, and without further ado, let's jump into the news headlines for today. So as I open the paper, we have an update, a pronouncement from the Election Commission regarding the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls happening before the upcoming Bihar elections. So the Election Commission has said those in the 03, and that would be the 2003 Bihar rolls, their kids don't need any documentation, any documents. So this is pretty significant from the viewpoint that a lot of revision has to be done to the list of people who are eligible and registered to vote. Before the upcoming Bihar elections, of course, the Election Commission is going through the exercise of revising. And as those who have followed the news for the past week or so would know that a huge number of people were actually removed from the rolls, to which, of course, the opposition party leaders claimed foul play. The Supreme Court, of course, had to step in with a couple of pronouncements of its own. So, in that update, the Election Commission has now declared that if a person has been already enumerated in the 2003 Bihar's voters list, then they would not need to submit anything. In addition, if their children are included, then the only thing that the child or the children would need to do is prove their relation to the person who's already there on the voter list. And for this, the Supreme Court has also said that they will step in if any irregularities are found in the special intensive revision. In a small article under the same heading, the Election Commission has also said that the objections from the parties will be treated as complaints. Okay. Below that, we have a pronouncement of the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court has said that journalists' articles, videos, prima facie is not sedition. So there are a couple of interesting words here. One is what is meant by prima facie. So prima facie is a Latin term which means at first view. And then of course we have the word sedition, which is a serious charge of doing things against a democratically elected government, right? Of course, I would very strongly urge students interested in law aspirants, people who are going to write exams such as the CLAT, to go and look up the exact definition of sedition in Indian law. And also keep in mind the word prima facie, a very commonly used Latin phrase in law. Other than that, we have, of course, the Municipal Corporation of Delhi's drive to pick up stray dogs after the Supreme Court's order to get the city rid of stray dogs. We move ahead. We have a lot of city pages with local news, which is not going to be of much relevance. So is the state news, where of course there is one interesting and heart-warming update that Vadodara is now home to 442 crocodiles, and census reveals 60% rise in their numbers since 2020. Now, people in Gujarat, especially in Vadodara, would know that crocodiles have always been spotted in areas around the rivers, especially the Vishwamitri, and crocodiles have been known to come out of the waters and enter into public areas. But of course, being a species like that, we definitely need to conserve them. Next, you have a page full of health tips, and then the nation page. Let's see if there are any interesting news on the nation page for our consumption. Uh, Above the fold, we have a heading which says Munir is Osama in suit, former Pentagon man on his nuclear threat. So, Michael Rubin, a former Pentagon official, and I quote, has said Trump is a businessman, he's a real estate broker, so he's used to the horse trading and the back and forth. morality and ideology doesn't come into play. But let's read what the news is about. Why Munir, I believe that would be Field Marshal Asif Munir of Pakistan, has been termed as Osama in suit. So, characterizing Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir as Osama bin Laden in a suit, a former Pentagon official has excoriated. Now, that is a very, very interesting word. Excoriated. And looking at the tone of the passage, I can only presume it means used sharp words against. So, has excoriated US President Donald Trump for his embrace of Islamabad, even as the White House and State Department remain silent on Munir's provocative nuclear threat made on US soil over the weekend. There hadn't been a peep from the Trump administration after Munir warned at an event in Florida that as a nuclear power, Pakistan would take half the world down with it if it faces an existential crisis, following up on his threat to target Indian infrastructure and businesses if it impeded the flow of waters to Pakistan. Instead, Munir was rewarded with the State Department designating Baloch Liberation Army as a foreign terrorist organization, a long standing Pakistan demand despite its long standing credentials as a fountainhead of terrorists who have attacked US interests and assets. मेरे मेरे टेबल पे है. So that basically is what the article is about. Below that, we also have an article that India rejects the jurisdiction of International Court on Water Treaty. After the Pahalgam attacks, of course, there was Operation Sindoor. And before that, we had the Indus Water Treaty being brought into the limelight. Now, if you have read up on the Indus Water Treaty or followed my videos on that, then we would know that Indus Water Treaty, one of the terms is that it will be settled between the parties. So, of course, Pakistan has welcomed an international court's ruling that interprets designed criteria for the new run-off river hydropower projects to be constructed by India on the western rivers, saying it vindicates its position on the IWT. However, India has never recognized the permanent court of arbitration that was reported to have declared that India shall let flow the water of western rivers for Pakistan's unrestricted use. And India has instead focused on the neutral expert mechanism. To which PM Sharif of Pakistan, PM Shehbaz Sharif, said Pakistan will not allow India to snatch even drop of its water. Okay, that's pretty strong statements to be made. So I'll just put up as a general headline, Indus Water Treaty and between India and Pakistan. Okay, below the fold we have a news, not a news, an article related to movies and OTT, which says first day first show is the thrill gone. With OTT platforms on the rise and several big stars on the retreat, a Tamil film no longer seems to make a splash when it hits theaters. Should be an interesting article to read. Moving on the next nation page, we have a statement by the Election Commission regarding the objections raised by the opposition in connection to the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls, where the EC says that the opposition did not file the SIR objections in the prescribed format. Okay, that would be interesting to read. The next nation page just updates on old news. Pretty much the same. And finally, we come to my favorite, the middle pages. On top, we have an article, No Tariffs on Visitors Attract Them, which is opinion by Ashish Dhawan and Swagato Ganguly. Dhawan is the founder, CEO, and Ganguly senior fellow at Convergence Foundation. So this article reads, Trump is threatening India's exports. A smart response would be to make tourism a big dollar earner. Earnings can go up to $100 billion from the current $28 billion. Plus, expanded tourism can create 2.5 million direct jobs. So that would be a very, very interesting, slightly different view from the usual brouhaha that surrounds the various announcements by US President Donald Trump regarding tariffs against different countries. Below that, we have an article by Percival Bilimoria, and this is related to the Supreme Court order regarding stray dogs in the Delhi NCR region. Key legal questions on Supreme Court stray dog order. Two principles of natural justice. The right of all parties to be heard and speaking for the voiceless were ignored in the hearing on Monday, writes a senior advocate. CLAT aspirants, law aspirants should definitely be reading this particular article to understand certain things. The three left articles, one is a Supreme Court in Delhi because of pollution issues, old vehicles were to be scrapped. So the top court did well to put on hold action against owners of old vehicles. Age isn't an indicator of fitness. So the phasing out of 10 to 15-year-old cars, which was to be carried out, this is an interesting view on that, considering the stay order on that. Below that, managing the shift, engineers and non-engineers both have a key role as long as they are bilingual in human and AI languages. Please do read that, students, especially if you are about to join the workforce in a world which is full of artificial intelligence driven things. And then Jag Surya's humor column, Foreign India. If the English language is alien to us, then so is much of what we consider integral to us. Okay, moving ahead, a time special but law related. Why Supreme Court is worried about lower courts hurry to hand out death. Just this year, the apex court has ordered acquittals in half of the death sentences it has reviewed, forcing it to remind lower courts of the rarest of rare doctrine set for capital punishment. So please, law aspirants, today is a bumper edition. The entire special article regarding the worry of the Supreme Court regarding the lower courts hurry to hand out capital punishment is definitely an article worth reading. We move on to the global page where we have updates on the upcoming Trump Putin meet. We have updates of the Israel Gaza Palestine issue. We have updates on Trump's order for the National Guard to arrive in Washington, D.C., and others. The business page, the finance minister moves a bill to amend the IBC, that is the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, to speed up insolvency cases. Okay. The next page, we have a tech page. Students, startups will gain the most from models like GPT-5 going free. A lot of articles are related to new tech, especially artificial intelligence. Please do read. Then we have the sports page, but there doesn't seem to be any major update. So we have things related to cricket in over half the page. And in the end, again, sports in the top half, and complete bottom half devoted to the stray dogs issue following the Supreme Court order in Delhi NCR. So those were the articles for today. Of course, the big news, if I may put so, was one, the Supreme Court Delhi NCR stray dogs issue. A lot of legal articles on Supreme Court being concerned with the lower courts handing out a lot of death penalties, and of course the election commission saying that a lot of people would not be required to give documents if they are already in the 2003 rolls, and even that children would only need to prove the kinship to get enlisted. That pretty much brings me to an end to today's session. If you have liked this episode, do hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Do drop your comments below. Till then, wishing you all the very best.